I remember sitting there right next to his hospital bed, the beeping of the medical equipment, the doctors and nurses coming in and out. You see, my dad was in the last stages of a long-fought battle with cancer, and it was really, really hard to watch someone I loved so much suffer like that. And I remember us asking the doctors, what we wanted to know the most were, what were the odds that he could beat this? Somehow, if they just gave us a number, it would give us just a little bit of hope, something to hold on to in what seemed like a hopeless situation. Today, we're going to spend some time in 2 Corinthians with a man named Paul. He had faced some pretty hopeless situations himself. As he writes this letter to the church in Corinth, he shares with them a lesson that he learned as he faced some serious situations in his life. Let's pick it up at chapter 1, starting at verse 8. It says this: "We do not want you to be uninformed, brothers and sisters, about the troubles we experienced in the province of Asia. We were under great pressure, far beyond our ability to endure, so that we despaired of life itself. Indeed, we felt we had received the sentence of death. But this happened that we might not rely on ourselves, but on God, who raises the dead." We're not quite sure which time of suffering Paul is referring to here. It must have been really hard, though. Look at his emotions. Look at the great pressure he is under. It was beyond his ability to endure, so much so that he despaired of life itself. It says he felt as if he had been given a death sentence. But as he reflects on this time of suffering, he begins to notice something pretty incredible. You see, God used this time of trial to teach him something. And I believe it's the same thing that God teaches us in times of hardship and uncertainty. Through affliction, we are taught to depend on God, God who raises the dead. Here's the trouble, though. We really like to depend on ourselves, don't we? Our careers, our income, our health, our wealth, they all give us the illusion that we can do it on our own. Even in the midst of this pandemic, we look to the news, to the percentages, to the mortality rates. We look to the odds to give us hope. Here's the truth. The odds make terrible gods. Facing impossible situations breaks us of any illusion that we can do it ourselves. Here's the good news. We trust in a God who raises the dead. And if God can do that, no situation is hopeless. This means that as we face what seem like impossible situations in our lives, in our workplaces, in our families, our church, we trust in a God who raises the dead. Hope isn't lost, so we can live boldly knowing that our greatest enemy, death itself, does not have the final word. Because Jesus rose from the dead, we too will rise with him. On May 2nd, 2018 at 3:30 in the afternoon, all hope seemed lost. My dad breathed his final breath on earth, but death didn't have the final word. Is when my dad exhaled that final breath, he awoke to the embrace of his Savior. Jesus healed my dad. He will heal each and every single one of us. He will heal our world. We will rise again with him on the last day. The same Spirit that raised Jesus Christ from the dead lives in each and every single one of us, in our families, in this church. In this season, where hope may seem like it's lost, know this: God raised Jesus from the dead. And what that means for us is, no matter what happens, the best is yet to come.